code who takes up his spot in the outside stall. They're all in line, and we're ready for the start. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Did you see me panicking there?
No, you didn't have to admit it.
I dove, I plugged in the light, and boom, last second, lights, camera, action.
Literally like camera action.
That was awesome. Breeders' Cup preview. We're back, the lunchtime show. Hope you're in front of your computer or phone with a sandwich, a salad, a smoothie. Like we said yesterday, grab a beer if you want. Grab something stronger if you'd like. It's Breeders'
iced coffee that's literally the size of your head.
The iced coffee.
This is my fourth one of these today.
Oh boy.
I can blink my ears probably.
All right, this should be a good, fun next hour here. We're going to be focusing mostly on, I think, the back half of the Saturday card at the Breeders' Cup. Wanted to mention the news today that we saw come across just a little while ago. In the back half of the Breeders' Cup card on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Sprint, a scratch out of that race. Vekoma for George Weaver will not be running in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, which makes the also eligible Lasting Legacy for Bob Hess with Brian Hernandez up eligible to run in the Sprint. So we'll take a look at that race here in a little bit. We'll also dig into the Breeders' Cup Mile, which we touched on a little bit yesterday. We'll get into more of it today. And a few more races on Saturday that I'm sure all of us have our eyes on. Penelope, who's joining us? We've got a couple of fun guests coming up.
We really do. So the first guest we're going to have in just a few minutes is Mike Curry, who is part of Team ABR, and he has done some incredible work leading up to the Breeders' Cup, looking at the history of races to contextualize this year's winner. And as he's going to tell you, the mile is his jam. He loves it. So that's going to be like basically what he looks at, but he's going to give us some tips and tricks for a few other races. And then coming up at 12:30, it's Little Red Feather's own Billy Cock, who's going to talk about the Red King, his turf hopeful, and probably just, be really funny because he's awesome.
For those who know Billy, I did have to just text him a little while ago to confirm that he was awake. Although it is noon on the East Coast here.
It's only 9 a.m.
It's only 9 a.m. on the West Coast. Lord only knows if Billy was what he was doing last night, election night party. He's been known to throw parties for a lot of different things. I would imagine an election night party it was within the realm of possibility. And so Billy's going to be joining us. It was really cool. Back in, I've lost all sense of time. What month was that? That was, let me see, I'm going to look it up.
August? It was in the now times, though. It was not in the before times.
It was August 22nd. The Del Mar Handicap, Red King beat United. And Billy was on with us, and that's when they qualified for the Breeders' Cup Turf. Mm-hmm. And he was super excited. And I know, like you're going to want to stay tuned to hear his grievances, and I think truly justified grievances about how it is that United 8-1, but United is probably going to take a good amount of money. And Red King is 20-1 in the morning line on Saturday.
I have feelings about that, and I am excited to hear about them.
So am I.
I love feelings, and I love that this show is basically turned into Festivus, where we just have an airing of the grievances. It's sensational.
Oh boy, viewers already chiming in with some really tough questions. I'm not touching that one. We're going to let that one sit for a while.
Blow right by.
Yep. People joining in right now. What's up, Anthony? Feel
probably
free.
Not the bro, but hi, Anthony. Might be.
Bros.
I have bro qualities.
Keep sending in your comments if you have questions for us, for Mike, for Billy when he hops on. Let us know, and we will do our best to get to them. So, what do you think? Should we bring Mike in?
Let's do it.
All right, Mike.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. 9 weeks we've had the Derby, the Preakness, the Breeders' Cup coming up, a presidential election, and a pandemic. I think we all look pretty good, all things considered.
Well, Speak for yourself and Penelope.
No. You don't know what this apartment looks like outside of this very specific 3 square feet.
It's been crazy though, but it's fun. We've got I'm really looking forward to the Breeders' Cup. I'm sure you guys are too.
Yeah, can I share something really quickly?
Sure.
That's relevant to this conversation? Here's what I ate yesterday. A handful of cashews, which I did on a Zoom call that Dan was on, and 6 cupcakes. That's it.
I love cashews. I've been hitting those pretty hard. We've got a big jug of them from Costco.
Yeah, I get the Trader Joe's Thai lime and chili, that cashews. They're so good.
Yeah.
It's good nervous eating just to fill time, a week like this when you don't have time to eat, and nervous eating, when you're watching election results come in.
It's better for me. I've got a big jar of Halloween candy that the kids have, so cashews are better, I think.
Did you do the thing my mom used to do, which is say that she had to check to make sure they won't poison and then just gank all the Snickers?
I just sneak in whenever I want and grab them. They don't keep it close enough either. They're always in Zoom meetings, so I've got the jar to myself most of the time.
Yeah, it's weird when in 2020 your kids have more Zoom meetings than you do.
Right. Yeah.
Strange.
Ooh, William's saying almonds.
That's
My
awesome.
daughter made chocolate covered almonds yesterday. She had dark chocolate, Ghirardelli chocolate, and made chocolate covered almonds. So
there's a little drawer happening in my neighborhood right now. That sounds really good.
Stephanie sharing her coping mechanisms.
Mike, I think you can identify with that one. You're a Mean Mary fan too, aren't you?
Well, I love Mean Mary. Yeah, she's probably my favorite horse in training. I like Sharing too. Obviously, you guys both know I'm a big fan of Graham Motion and his horses. Terrific trainer, great person, and I don't know. I like Mean Mary because she's a lot different than the turf horses I usually like. I almost always go for the ones with that huge late kick. That's kind of like my thing when I handicap grass races. Is I just look at the race shape, and then I look at in a route race, I'll just take a horse that can come home in definitely under 23 seconds for the final quarter. Even a little bit quicker for turf sprints, you want them to be under 11 seconds. So Mean Mary kind of goes against the grain for me as a front runner. I usually don't favor them, but I do really like her, and I like the way she runs other horses off their feet sometimes.
Yeah, Philly and Mare Turf race 7 on Saturday that Mean Mary is in. We had a pretty extensive conversation about it on the show yesterday. We had Alicia Wintuse from the NTRA, and we also had Allie Vance, who's been doing a good amount of work for us the past couple of weeks, keeping us updated on some of the European runners. And she went through a number of the runners in that field, including Peaceful, who's coming in for Aidan O'Brien, Terabellum in that race, I think Cayenne Pepper as well. But, you talk about race shape. You don't expect pace from those horses. Mean Mary got a good amount of speed. This wasn't one I don't think we're planning to talk about, but Chad Brown obviously has the the powerful what is it, 4 or 5 entered in here, Rushing Fall at the top of the list. You think Mean Mary can get around all those?
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned Terabellum too. That's another one that I had. I do that live long shots piece every year, and I liked her too. I think 20-1 just jumps out. A lot of the odds kind of stunned me on the morning line. I think we're going to talk about the mile later, and I wasn't expecting the odds there, but I do like Terabellum. She's got that Group 2 win at 1.25 miles on firm turf back in June, and then since then has gotten mostly soft ground and Grade 1 races at 1 mile. So I think that the extra distance and probably firmer turf should help her. And Gosden too has trained in the U.S. and knows which horses to bring over. So I think, at 20-1 is worth a chance. And so that's kind of going to be my plan, is to use those two, Mean Mary and Terabellum, as my main 2 for the Philly and Mare Turf. What do you guys think?
Yeah. So first off, your live long shots, I just dropped them into the comment section. So anybody watching, you could get the rest of Mike's live long shots. You've got one in there. You're picking the Juvenile is one that I love. And you know this because you remember I the Dan's Double a couple of weeks back when I said switching from turf to dirt, Mike McCarthy, those big numbers with the 2-year-olds. So Rombauer, I think, is one to look for in the juvenile. In the turf, in the filly mare turf, I don't know. Penelope, you want to start off on that one?
Yeah, sure. So I was saying yesterday, Mike, that this is one of those races I might have to skip because my heart's way more invested than my head in this race. Like, I'm a big Starship Jubilee fan. I love her so much that, like, I just want her to win, and I don't know if I'm going to be objective about it. I'm interested in to hear what you think of, and I'm going to not do this name any justice at all, but Audaria?
Sounds good. That sounds right.
Audar.
Audaria.
Audaria. Yeah, that's what I said. What did you say? That's what I said.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. I think you nailed it. I don't know if this is one in particular that came up in our conversation yesterday, but there are a couple here, and you think, I mean, again, on the whole, a lot of the horses that come over, generally, they come over looking for firm ground. She's one who's actually run fairly well on both soft and firm ground. And as we mentioned earlier, just so you should know, I mean, if you haven't looked at the forecast, the weather is good. Mike, you're actually closer to the scene. I mean, the weather's forecast still holding up? Do you think we'll get that firm ground?
Yeah, it looks nice to me. And I mean, the Keeneland grass is always, I think, definitely, in my opinion, plays better for the Europeans than a lot of the other host sites. I mean, Santa Anita is very, very dry and very hard. And Keeneland, they always seem to keep it really thick. So I always think that, like, when I look at the turf course at Keeneland, I always kind of favor the European horses coming over. It bit me in 2015 because I didn't really look at Tepin very closely in the mile. But, yeah, I mean, Audaria, I guess I don't know how to say it either. I mean, the form looks great to me. And I like I said, I always give a second look to the European horses. But as you mentioned, like a couple of those really nice races came on soft or heavy ground. So it's kind of tough to tell, you know. I was listening to your interview with Ali yesterday, and it did seem like she thought that a lot of the Europeans, even though they might like a little bit firmer ground, wouldn't like super firm turf. So I guess I don't know, a little bit 50-50 on her.
Yeah. You know, amongst look, I think Rushing Fall is an absolute beast, and would love to see her win. And I think that, all things being equal, I think if she runs her race, she should win. And you know, but she doesn't tend to win by very large margins. So at least this year, it's been a little bit more of a grind for her to get up. So if you're looking for a price, I mean, I thought My Sister Nat, I mentioned on our show yesterday as well. She's one that I just kind of had my eyes on all year. She came over from France a couple of years ago. Took a little while to get her going, which is, you know, I guess a little odd for a Chad Brown. You expect them to immediately start running well when they come to the U.S. But, you know, I think she's really started to figure things out. And it still does take her a while to get cranked up. But I think if we can expect an honest enough pace, we mentioned Mean Mary. If there's anyone who could kind of apply a little pressure, you know, we don't expect a lightning fast pace. Obviously, they're going to be going a mile and 3/16. These races don't typically tend to be, you know, very fast early. But if she could get just a decent amount of pace, I don't know. Harvey's Little Goyle maybe could apply a little early pressure.
Sorry, I always laugh at that name because you have to say Little Goyle.
Yeah, I mean, the announcers always say it a lot more.
I think Shug's horse, Civil Unions, is dangerous in here too. That's the one that ran ahead of My Sister Nat.
That's right.
And super consistent. I mean, has really turned into a nice horse. And anytime I see double digits on a Shug horse, I start, you know. So, I mean, I think definitely a big chance to outrun the 12-1 morning line odds for sure. But I mean, I've already named 3 horses that I like, so I can only say, you know.
Yeah,
tough race.
Yeah, maybe heed Penelope's advice, and I don't know if you sit this one out entirely, but if you're playing, you know, the horizontals, you're playing the multis, maybe go deep in this leg. That's a pretty tough one.
I'm going to reiterate my point. Sorry, Dan, of yesterday, which is like, do not feel like, for the people out there, that you have to bet every single race. It is cool to take a break. Bet the ones you have a good feeling on. Don't chase your losses just to chase your losses. That way lies madness and like ramen noodles for a week.
it's better to take a break earlier too, and not have to take a break at the end because your account's on zero. So if you really don't have a good opinion, it's better to take that break early.
Yeah. Mike mentioned that some of the pieces that he has up on americasbestracing.net right now focus on using history, the history of various races to build the profile of a winner, and also to just kind of size up the contenders in general. And so I know you noticed that there are themes and trends and patterns that develop over time. And let's just dive into it when we look at the Breeders' Cup Sprint, which is the next race on the schedule for Saturday, race 8. At Keeneland on Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Sprint. What sort of trends and patterns stood out to you, and where did that land you on?
Yeah, so I put together kind of like a Cliff's Notes version for you guys, just kind of run through some of this stuff. So some of the races, like I didn't really feel like the Classic or the Juvenile had a ton of really good trends, but both the mile and the sprint did. And the thing about the sprint, so 14 of the last 20 sprint winners entered off a victory in their final prep race, including 8 of the last 9. Only 1 of the last 20 winners entered the Breeders' Cup off an unplaced finish, and that was Midnight Loot. And it was his comeback year. He was sidelined for most of the year, had 1 start and finished off the board. And then like recent form is just so important with these ones. So from June of their respective year, not counting the actual Breeders' Cup race, Breeders' Cup sprint winners won 33 of 53 starts and finished in the top 3 50 times. So only 3 races from the 20 Breeders' Cup sprint winners between June and their final prep ran off. Only 3 times did they run off the board. So I think, obviously form is always important, but in this race, you really want to look for runners that are in terrific form. And then the other main trend here was just to basically avoid deep closers on top. They just haven't fared well in the sprint. Midnight Loot's the only closer in the last 20 years.
He was just bucking the trends right and left, huh?
Yeah. And he was terrific. But I thought that was interesting that in general, tactical speed does have, I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, good form and tactical speed. But specifically in this race, like if your horse finished off the board in the final prep, probably a toss.
It's interesting. And so who did that, about, taking all that into account, how do you see this race unfolding, and who would you put on top, and how might you even bet this race?
Well, I really liked Vekoma. So that threw me for a little bit of a loop. CZ Rocket definitely fits the mold probably best of the rest of them. He's in terrific form. He's got pretty much meets all the criteria. But I also thought that another thing that's interesting is that 3-year-olds have done pretty well. I think they've won 6 out of the last 20 editions of the sprint. And so I kind of landed on Collusion Illusion and Yalpan as 2 that I thought had a chance to run pretty well. Collusion Illusion, 2 wins and a third in 3 starts since June, including that big grade 1 win in the Bing Crosby. And he tactically can like stalk or press. And I think from a speed figure perspective, he's fast enough on paper. And then Yalpan's just been terrific and on the rise, a little bit untested against this level, but I think he's worth keeping an eye on. How about you guys?
I actually have a question that is relevant to this. So speaking of 3-year-olds, what do you think of Frank's Rockette? She's a filly. She's done really well. Is this too big a leap?
I don't know. The 3-year-old, she's a 3-year-old filly, right? Coming up against the guys. I didn't give her probably enough of a look as I should have. Taking a closer look now. Yeah, I
kind of like how she's done everything.
Yeah, and she does fit that mold where she's got the proven ability, terrific form, and also can press and pounce, so I think, I definitely would consider if that's kind of the way you're leaning, I don't think the 10-1 morning line odds are at all what she'll go off at. Like I could see her going off at 30, 40 to 1 easy. Yeah.
She's not a household name, so
I think she's worth taking a swing on. Like if she is a just super long shot, I'm interested to see what happens with her. I'm just like, I can't bring myself to bet anything in the Breeders' Cup that's 7-2, like even 3 or 4-1. I'm like, I don't wanna.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it makes a big difference if you're playing vertical or horizontal wagers. And for the people watching at home, I know that sounds like gobbledygook if you don't bet horse racing compulsively like the rest of us. So I'll explain it. A horizontal wager is when you bet races one after the other, all as one bet. So like a pick 3 is a horizontal wager when you bet, say, the second, third, and fourth race. That's a pick 3. You have to find the winner of all 3. A vertical wager is when you bet a lot of horses in the same race. So like a trifecta, you have to pick the first, second, and third place horse in the same race. We like our jargon. We don't like to pull it out of the 18th century. I apologize.
That was good. That was really, really well summarized.
Like gesturing it the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be like sort of almost like pantomime the whole thing.
I'm just going to interpretive dance out the types of wagers in the Breeders' Cup. That's going to be the rest of the live show for the week.
Oh, as our viewership jumps, I just noticed a spike. I really did. I noticed a spike in viewership. Really. Russ Sapienza here, making a case here for CZ Rocket. Could use a better price though, of course. And Stephanie actually touches on one who I don't want to say I've never been a fan of this horse. How could you not be a fan of Whitmore? I've just never been, a Whitmoriac. I've never been like a fanatical Whitmore person who's like always betting Whitmore. I've tried to beat him over the years. I've been lucky at times and I've beaten him and he's beaten me at times.
You were a Whitmoron.
Oh, that was good. We need to clip that. That's a highlight. I like that.
Yeah, I actually am a Whitmore fan, but the reality when I looked at him was just that he's been in better form in previous editions of the Sprint. Mm-hmm. And I guess I just worry, especially the last 2 starts have not been his best. But I am a Whitmore fan, and if he ran well, I'd be happy for him. He's a horse that I followed throughout his career, and I've always rooted for him.
Well, he certainly doesn't fit the mold of a younger horse doing well in this race. He is 7 now, and look, my reason for liking him in this race is because I think people will overlook Whitmore. I thought the last race was a little sort of it was a bit of a strange race. He was wide. I can make excuses for him there. The race 2 back was over this real sloppy track at Saratoga in the Forgo. But if you could put lines through both of those races, there's plenty of back form, obviously, especially at Keeneland. I visually, to me, he always seems to run well at Keeneland, and it would just be, it would be a great story. And when I'm looking at 15-1, I could get behind a great story, especially one that I can make a case for. He is one who can tend to get a little further behind in terms of, as the race starts to shape up. He may find himself a little farther back than some of the others. And as Mike just pointed out, that may not be the best for this particular kind of race. But if he can stay in touch early, I give him a shot, and I take a look at the board. I mean, I wouldn't want him at like 5-1 or 6-1, but if he stays near that 15-1, that's pretty intriguing.
He's done a little bit better too at staying closer as he's gotten older. I think they realize that maybe he doesn't have quite the finishing power that he did when he was younger. Mm-hmm. So it does seem like he stayed a little bit more in touch.
God, that's relatable.
I'm sorry?
That's just really relatable to me.
I did just post Mike's piece on the Breeders' Cup Sprint. You could check that out. It's in your stream right now as well. We see in the green room right now, Billy Koch is just settling in. We're going to bring him in a few moments. He's waving to us, so I know he can hear us. Very good sign. Let's, before we get to Billy, do the turf race before Billy's turf race. And that's going to be the Breeders' Cup Mile. Let's dig into that one first here. Race 9 on Saturday, another one really loaded with, a lot of solid European runners. Interestingly, on the morning line, a couple of your top choices here are horses who have been racing in the U.S. Ivar, who won the Shadwell Turf Mile last out, is the morning line favorite at 4-1. But you might not have to go odd shopping in this one. I think you're going to find a price. if you like something here, you could make a nice win bet and get paid here. Uni is 5-1, I believe, the second choice. Mike, Penelope tells really fantastic tales about your history with this race. I don't know if I should let her tell it because she really can do like a grand presentation here, or if you just want to like
dramatic. I don't know what you mean.
So it has been probably my two best on top picks in Breeders' Cup came in this race with Miesk's approval at 26-1 in 2006. And then Caraconti at 30-1 in 2014. He was a horse that I used to be in this Breeders' Cup fantasy league, total dorking.
You're among
it was a bunch of the guys at Churchill Downs had this fantasy league, and we ended up picking up Caraconti as a late addition to our team. And I thought he was kind of a true miler, and they tried to stretch him out. And a lot of times when I'm looking at those Euros, I'm looking at them, they win a classic race and they think, well, let's try another one and see what they can do. And a lot of times they end up falling back into that mile distance, which is their best. But so the historical stuff, though, a couple interesting trends here. Like I said, I'll do cliff notes and kind of blast through these quickly, but no pace setter in the last 20 years has won the Breeders' Cup Mile. Not one. And only World Approval was Oppressor. The other ones were all like Stalkers Closers. 12 of the last 13 were already group or grade 1 winners. So class is obviously key. I mean, that's not telling you anything you don't know, but it does seem to be of increased importance here. But it's not absolutely necessary to coming off a win. Only half of the last 20 winners entered the race off of a win. So like when I was looking for it, I was thinking like long shots. I'm looking for undervalued, proven group 1 winners, possibly coming in off a loss that might look better than it was than it does on paper. So those are kind of like the Cliffs Notes versions. And then the horses that I really, really like, Digital Age. I didn't like 8-1. I was thinking I was going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 15-1, as maybe like one of the other Chad Browns. Yeah. But you kind of wait and see what the board tells us. And I mentioned to you before, Dan, that I did like the English Guineas winner Kameko, and I also think another Euro has a pretty good shot, Safe Voyage. Just kind of looking at the trends and seeing how they fit as a total package in this race. Specifically Kameko, I thought 2 of his 3 losses this year came at 1.5 miles and 1 mile and 5/16, and I definitely think he's probably best at a mile. And then his other loss was in the Sussex Stakes, and I went back and watched that replay a few times, and he was just completely blocked on the rail, had nowhere to go. So I think he's a lot better than you see on paper, and I think if we're getting 6-1. It's tough to complain about that for an English Classic winner coming over here, especially if you really believe in him like I do.
Yeah, and Mike, if I remember correctly too, like Siskin has kind of been the wise guy horse, like the wise guy Buzz Euro coming into this race. You're not on board.
No, I didn't care for him as much. To me, he looked more like one of those precocious types. It was really, really good. I think he was unbeaten at 2, won the Irish Guineas early in the season. He just kind of faded a little bit. Now, there could be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe he just kind of fell out of form a little bit. Maybe he'll bounce back. I definitely think he's classy. He's a terrific racehorse. But sometimes you got to take stands. But when I really didn't like him at all beforehand, at 15-1, you could convince me a little more. When I saw 15-1 on the morning line, I was like, well, I didn't like him before when I was thinking he was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood between like 4 and 6-1, but at 15-1, I don't know, you could twist my arm a little bit.
It is funny how we like mentally, while we're handicapping, we start to think, well, this horse is probably going to go off at this price. And so we have that sort of bias as we're handicapping. We're like, no, I'm not going to want him at that price. But like Mike said, you gotta keep just looking up at the board. You could wait. Most of us, just about all of us are going to be betting from home. You're going to have it up on your computer or your cell phone. You could wait till the very last minute. Wait till you get the price that you like. We don't have an exchange here where you can lock in a particular price. But if the price looks good enough as they're loading in, you might find Uni at 9-1 and think that's great.
So that is what I'm hoping will happen, honestly, because when I was looking at the morning line, I was like, oh, okay. So she's 5-1.
5-1, yep.
Yeah, 5-1 on the morning line. Like I actually like her for this spot, but again, I am being a complete snob, and I don't think I'm going to really play anything that's shorter than 6 or 7 to 1. I think she'll float up. The more grab my giant.
I think you'll probably get that. I think you'll get a decent price on her, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think her odds will float up. I think she's going to be overlooked because if you go back to her form this year, like, you know, she's had a couple of defeats. She was like, you know, 7th at Saratoga in the 4-star Dave, but she was 6 wide. I mean, that's a tough thing to overcome. She's had a couple of defeats, but she loves her some Keeneland. Like, really, she loves Keeneland. And for me, that's a pretty big factor. So if she floats up at, you know, 8, 9, 10 to 1, I'm going to take a swing on her, I think. And then I'm with you on Kamiko. Kind of figures.
Yeah. And I know from the conversations we've done, we've had this week that horse clearly wants firm ground. They've been adamant about that. That's why they sent the horse here, and they thought could run one final race before being retired, which is the plan actually. Ali Vance spoke to Oisin Murphy, the Kamiko's jockey, about the horse making his final start, and we figured we'd share that with you here.
And now this is his final run before retiring to stud. He strikes me as a bit of a favourite for you and connections. And what's he like, his character?
Yeah, he's a super ride, and he's got a great temperament. He doesn't bite or kick. You can lead him out around other horses and give him a pick of grass. He's not naughty in any way, and it's actually very hard to find coats of such high ability with that mentality. So yeah, well, I'll certainly miss him. Very hard to replace classic winners and Group 1 horses. So let's hope we can find something, but it won't be easy.
Yeah, and obviously be great to bow out on a win for him and indeed you. How important and significant would it be to add a Breeders' Cup win to your CV? Yeah,
it would mean the world. It's taken me a few years trying, and I've been unsuccessful. So it would mean the world to me to kind of cap the end of the season, the end of the British season with such an American Championship win would be massive.
I'm happy to say I know somebody who's had more success at the Breeders' Cup, specifically in the mile, than Oisin Murphy. That's Mike Curry. Mike, give us the quick 3-horse exacta box for the Breeders' Cup mile. I did link to your post here in the conversation, so if people want to hop in and read the full non-clips notes version, it's there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kamiko, Digital Age, and Safe Voyage. There's my exacta box. And if I were to expand out for a try, I do think Raging Bull's a nice, I mean, he's a really deep closer, but comes a little bit too late. So I might sprinkle him in third. And I like Uni too. I think she'll run well. So,
Mike, does a 14 hole for Raging Bull bug you at all?
Well, he comes from so far back. I'm hoping he pulls the old. You remember when Jeremy Rose on a Fleet Alex, they would start the race and he would take a left-hand turn out of the gate, and take him right over and just let him fall back. I'm hoping he kind of does the same thing there. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a good race. I mean, just absolutely loaded field. So much fun. I do love the mile every year, and sometimes you take a bath in it because there's so many good, good runners. You get wiped out, but other times you find a blind squirrel finds a nut. Like 26 to 1 nut's a pretty good one. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mike, before we let you go, I got to put you on the spot. I'm going to bring in Billy. I got to do it. Billy?
Hi, Danny.
How's it going?
Penny? Love your hair. Hi, Mike. How you doing?
I'm well.
Now, we said we put him on the spot. I know you want to ask him. Who do you like in the Breeders' Cup turf?
It's interesting. And
if he says United, this is just
I was going to say Magical would be my pick on top. I just think that she's been so good this year, and just a terrifically consistent filly. So I think she would be my pick on top. But I do like United to run well, and because of that, I also think you've got a good shot too. I think they'll both run well.
We got to get Billy on with Jamie Roth one of these days.
One day.
Oh, yes, please.
One day. Hey, how do I get one of those little, like, where it says Tordjman and Miller with my like a cool picture and my name? Like, how many times do I have to come on the show before that happens? How many pick fives do we have to win?
I think you're up to like 8 or 9 appearances now total. So no, I think you're almost there. You're almost there. You're going to reach that status, that level.
Now wait a second. I have one question about the mile before we move on to whatever we're talking about today. Is it Kamiko or Kamiko? I've heard both.
I've heard Ali Vance, who's the only person I know in England at the moment, pronounce it as Kamiko.
Kamiko. That's
okay. I'm going to go with that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
So
we had a pretty good 16-1 mile winner, right? Wait, right there.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember that? Mike, were you around for that?
Singletary?
Damn straight.
Yeah, I was working at Thoroughbred Times at the time, and one of the guys I work with is a big Bears fan.
Yeah.
So he was all over him. I didn't have a piece of it though, but
well, we should have talked.
Is there anything you want to tell Mike about the turf before we let him go?
About the Breeders' Cup turf or the turf at Keeneland, which looked terrible this weekend, and I'm panic-stricken about it.
Did it?
I mean, the works were unbelievable. They were digging up the grass. It was very, very. It was like a bog. But what I've heard is it's already better, and it's warming up, and it's going to be probably in the neighborhood of good this weekend for the races. So there will be some cut in the grass. I still believe that all Euros should be arrow up on this turf course. That's just my own personal opinion. So keep that in mind when you're handicapping.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, I think Keeneland plays really well to European. And
for sure.
Cool. All right, Mike, we know you got a million other things to do. We appreciate you taking a bit of time and joining us on Breeders' Cup Preview Live.
Yeah, no problem. Back to the grind. It was fun. Thanks, guys.
Good luck, Mike.
We'll see you.
Take care.
What's up, guys? Did anyone sponsor the hair this time, Penny, or is this like Breeders' Cup? Did they pay you? Or?
No. This is still navy blue.
Oh, it's still navy blue. I'm sorry.
Still rocking the LRF.
Okay. Good.
Well,
now I have a really quite big question for both of you guys because I've been rocking the COVID beard.
Yeah.
Obviously extremely white.
I thought you were shaving that. Didn't you say last time you were shaving that?
I did shave it, and then it came back, and it's very Pepe Le Pew-ish. And I just need to know, do you feel like it's lucky for Breeders' Cup, or should I go clean shaven? I mean, Dan, I really don't care what you think. I more care about what Penny thinks. I'm going to get a haircut at 2:00 today, my Breeders' Cup haircut. So I need to know.
Okay, so here is the key question. How was it when Red King beat United?
I can't even remember. We'd have to go to the tapes. I was on with Dan that day because we hit the pick 5 or whatever we hit.
Well, you definitely had a beard that
I had a beard, but I don't think it was as thick.
Yeah.
It stays. I mean,
okay, stay. I might do the whole. What about the whole like shit, like cut it down here, like the flow into the hair thing? I like that look. You know.
I would let your barber give you a little guidance there.
Okay.
That's what I normally do when it comes to my like crazy colors and stuff like that. Like poor Tyler is like, please, God, stop. And I'm like, no, just make it work, but make it look pretty.
My wife calls me burly. She says
that's not bad.
Well, I also have like a 20-pound COVID thing going where I just stopped doing the bike. Literally they're calling me from Peloton asking me if I'm still alive. So it's been a rough one, but it's been good. I'm excited. What's going on?
So wait, tell us, I mean, you pointed to the frame behind you. We want to know about first of all, just in case people don't know who you are in Little Red Feather Racing, give us a little background and give us the Breeders' Cup background, your history with them, what it's like to win a race at the Breeders' Cup.
I'm Billy Koch. Obviously, you guys know me. Hopefully, the people out there know me by now. I've been around for a very, very long time. I don't look nearly as old as I am.
He's actually only 23.
I'm actually 20. Yeah, I'm 28. I'm the founder and managing partner of Little Red Feather Racing. We've been I've been horse racing my whole life. I grew up in the game. I started syndicating horses back in 1991 which is really a long time ago.
Oh, when you were
Started LRF.
2 years old.
What's that?
When you were just 2 years old.
Yes,
Amazing.
I was 2. I was walking around in diapers.
Really impressive to be able to goo goo gaga some horse sales.
It was.
Yeah.
It really was. That's how I got to know the horses. I actually rode. I actually was a jockey when I was 6. I wasn't. So I went to the Breeders' Cup. One of the first horses we ever bought and syndicated was a horse named Singletary. We named him. He's right up over one of my shoulders. I go like this one.
Yeah, it's everything's opposite.
Yeah, it's impossible. And in 2004, we went to the Breeders' Cup Mile. We were 16-1. I ran into I had been to pretty much every Breeders' Cup leading up to that, so I was a fan, but I'd never gone as an owner. And really, one of the greatest days of all of our lives. We had a pretty small group. I think there was about, I'm gonna say, like 12 to 15 owners. Most of them were friends, people that I knew, and we just had an absolute blast. We really enjoyed the week. We had a lot of fun. We did a video for TVG that they ran over and over again for about 5 years. And it was just my camcorder footage that we just gave them, and they cut it into this thing. We can't find it. I think they banned it. What's that?
That's of an era. I
had a camcorder. Yeah, I had a full camcorder, and we were just taping everything. And then when he won, one of my buddies, Josh, we were all on this balcony, and my buddy Josh had the camcorder up here like this, and we were all like cheering and bringing down the roof. I mean, it was crazy. People still talk about the balcony celebration because the balcony was rocking like this. We went down. It was muddy. It had rained the day before, and we were all slipping and sliding. We were in our suits. Everybody hated wearing suits. And great ride by David Flores. Great call by Tom Durkin. Great job by Don Chatlos training. And we got very lucky. And I cried on national TV. So I did that. That's fun.
I've done that too. It's really not a big deal.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, people like to see the soft side of you since I am so burly.
You were an infant, so crying.
Yeah, no. And you know, it really put Little Red Feather on the map. We learned a lot. Learned a lot since then, to be honest. This game is really hard, and it's really tough to get back here. And you point every year. You know, obviously the Derby is one thing, and the Triple Crown, but Breeders' Cup. I love Breeders' Cup because you have so many different ways to get here. Fillies, turf, long, short, dirt, 2-year-olds, everything. So it's really. I would love to have. Last year we had 2 horses in, which was really excited. This year just 1. But anytime you can make a race like this, you're so lucky. You're blessed, and it's really good for our partners because this is the ultimate goal. I mean, this is why people get into this game for days like Saturday, Friday too, Friday and Saturday. And I think that, like I keep saying, I keep using the word blessed and lucky. And I think, we work really hard, try to find really nice horses, try to provide our partners in Little Red Feather with opportunities to go to places like the Breeders' Cup. And that's why it's so exciting.
Yeah. I want to really quickly just talk about, you've said how, you've had good fortune. You have tried to buy the best horses you can. But I know you and Little Red Feather in general likes to try to give back to the industry as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about Little Red Feather Cares? Absolutely. We started it, I'm going to say like 7 or 8 years ago when I had joined the Karma board out in Southern California, and I was really influenced by Madeline Auerbach and Lucinda Mandela and Marcia Nafee and Samantha Siegel, who were all on that board with me. And I wanted to do something a little more. So we just took it upon ourselves to start Little Red Feather Cares. We believe aftercare is really one of the most important parts of our industry. I think if you decide that you want to be a horse owner, I think there's a certain innate responsibility to make sure that horse is taken care of, not only during their racing career, but when they're done, because they don't all become, brood mares. They don't all become stallions. You have to have a plan. So what we did is we started doing events. We did a charity softball game. We did a charity handicapping tournament. This summer for Karma, we did an amazing event that Dan knows about. I think Penny, you know about too. It was called the Karmathon, and we raised like $175,000 for aftercare. So, and Little Red Feather Cares, we donate to organizations like that. We donated to the TAA this time for Breeders' Cup, for Red King.
we try to pick our spots, but we know there's so many people out there that need funding to make sure that these horses, and especially our little red feather horses, have a place to go when their careers are over.
Yeah, it is. It's so important. And you donated, as I've mentioned before, to me in support of the Real Rider Cup. And I'm guessing this is the hair that got me over the finish line. So thank you.
That was it. Yes. Well, listen, you do a lot for the sport. And when we saw that on Twitter that you needed a sponsor for your hair dye, we wanted the orange and blue of Little Red Feather. So, it's fun to do those things. And I think it's important. And it brings out the message that I think all of us are trying to say. And I've said it and I'll say it again. And in Karma, we use own, race, retire. Those are the 3 stages of a horse's career. So, we can't say it enough. And when you see that kind of stuff out there, when you have a chance to give, even if it's a small amount, it really doesn't matter because it all adds up. And I think these horses deserve our participation in events like hair dyeing.
It does raise the point. You have a moment here. You could get the beard dyed.
Yeah, that would look terrible. Then it would be too much like Rotundo. I feel like Rotundo would do that. Like, I can't do that.
A warning here from JD Fox. Don't let it turn into a full neck beard here, basically.
Okay. I got it. Well, Ren Carruthers, who knows? She's probably still doing her show from last week.
Billy and Ren have a thing going on.
She has like 6-hour shows. I don't know who watches something for 6 hours. It's impossible.
Do you not have Netflix?
Yo, you know what? I do have Netflix. And here's what's crazy. I've been watching Ozark again.
Oh,
Second time.
Really?
No, it's fine. I'm like on my 17th loop of the Great British Bake Off. It's
I don't watch that.
2020 is weird. You just I get offended.
It is weird.
I'm still watching. Yes, of course I'm still watching. I don't go outside.
Well, here's an interesting thing, and tell me if you guys have this. I have right now, I'm in the middle of what I call Breeders' Cup handicapping overload.
I know this
So
one.
I have to shut off. Like, if I don't shut off and I just keep looking at the same thing over and over again, all I do is get confused and I don't know what I'm doing then. And I'm like, whoa, what am I doing? And that's when I shut off, go watch an episode of Ozark, go get a coffee. I got my coffee this morning. I have to do something else or else I'm a complete psychopath. And all I want to do is sing songs. Like I like this horse in the juvenile turf. His name's Seal Away.
I love Seal Away.
Yeah, and so I've been going, why don't you seal away into the night? And that we will be singing that all week.
Yes.
I got to stop. Like it's terrible.
Don't do more. I love this. Dan has been subject to me making up songs on
I want to hear Billy's
for every horse.
I want to hear Billy's United song.
I have no United song. As I said, we already beat United. I'm not worried about United in the turf. If he beats us, so be it. But I just don't understand how he's 8-1 and we're 20-1. I don't get it.
Yeah, let's jump into that because you're coming into this race off of a string of wins, including
Penelope, if I could, and I want you to jump into the race. But this is actually to come back to you because you didn't take any credit, and I don't know if Billy knows this. Billy, the follow-up to the story of you sponsoring Penelope's hair is that she actually last week was named the Real Rider. She won the competition.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yes. So you backed a winning horse and rider.
Yep.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was on an outstanding horse named All the Way Jose, who has been off the track for I think less than a year. Grade 1 steeplechase winner. So it helped that the jumps I thought were kind of big. He was like, yeah, whatever. It's not 5 foot. I'm good. But I met him that morning. Jumped him around.
Congrats. Oh, that's really great. Now I feel really good.
Good omen. We're rolling here. We're rolling. All right, Penelope, sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to give you the credit you were due, and I wanted Billy to know that.
Fantastic.
Again, it was all there.
It worked.
All right, Penelope, now you've got to take us into the turf. You were saying,
let's go.
Now you want to talk about the turf?
I want to talk about the turf because it is, it's competitive. One of the things I wanted to ask you is, there was, before the draw, we didn't really know if you guys were pointing toward the turf or the mile. What was... No. Okay.
No, this is a long distance horse. No pointing towards the mile. He loves... If this race was 2.5 miles, it would have been better for us.
Fair
enough. This horse wants to run all day. He'll gallop with him. He proved it in the Del Mar handicap, that half-mile move that he made. I talked to Phil D'Amato yesterday, and we were talking about the race and kind of going over things. And we said, what do you think we should tell Rispoli? And both of us at the same time, we just said nothing. Like, the guy knows the horse. It's $4 million. He does his homework. He's a really, really smart rider, as he proved in the Del Mar Handicap. And we just don't really want to tell him anything. I mean, he knows what's the pace situation. I mean, I think Channelmaker and United will be out there in front. You'll have a group kind of stalking behind her, probably, us and Arklow and, I think the European, maybe Magical will be up close because they'll be going pretty slow. And then you'll have all the closers. You'll have the Lord North and Mogul, and the horse that scares me is Tanarwa. I think she is. I watched her races. I've read a lot about her. I think she has an amazing turn of foot. She's 6-1 in the morning line. I have this sneaking suspicion that she's a wise guy horse and going to get bet down. So I wouldn't expect 6-1 on Tanarwa. This is a really, really tough race. I give the Europeans, I think they're dominant, to be perfectly frank. I think for an American, the way I look at things is I have to look at I like to say, like, okay, what has to happen for this horse to win? And I can make a case for every European. I mean, Magical, obviously, we know all about her. She runs the race where she was second to United. They're all running for second. Tanarwa has won 3 Group 1s in a row and is an unbelievable turn of foot. 3-year-old fillies. Fillies can win this race. We've seen it before with Found and obviously Enable. The Lord North, I mean, Gosden doesn't come over here with a horse like him, even off a bad race, unless he's serious. Mogul. I'm sorry, I've never heard of their connections. Aidan O'Brien and Tabor. And Frankie, I mean, this is ridiculous. So I really think ultimately at the end of the day, you are looking at a European winner of the turf. I don't know which one. I think for Red King to win, he just has to have the perfect trip, and some of those Europeans have to not show up. People have asked me, do you think he'll like a little softer, a little give in the ground? I don't know. His work last week wasn't great, but it was on a real bog. And apparently once he hit the wire and started galloping out, he looked much, much better. And they didn't really show that. But I think
he still had the fastest work of the day at the time, though, correct?
Well, go ahead. What's that?
Oh, I said he still had the fastest work of the day.
It was weird. Yeah, everybody worked so slow. I mean, he worked 104, and everybody else was working like 106. So obviously, maybe he did handle it. It's one of those things that you just don't know going in because you're used to running at Santa Anita and Del Mar over really firm turf courses. Obviously, I think the harder or the firmer the turf course is, the better it's going to be for us personally. But you don't know what it's going to be like by Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, there's an argument to be made, I think, that working over that boggy turf, that softer ground a week out of the race will help leg the horse up, or, in human parlance, a little fitter right before the race, which is because, like, we say things in this sport, I touched on it earlier, that sound insane.
Yeah.
I could say Red King worked a bullet going 5 panels on, like, in the swamp, and you know what I mean. But
I know exactly what you mean. I mean, that's what I said 5 minutes ago. It's funny. You're right, Penny. It's really interesting because and a lot of people will like Red King as a big bomb. I mean, he's going to be 30-1, and I can tell you one thing: he's fit, and he will get the 1.5 miles. Those are the 2 things that I can get. He's not going to lose this race because he wasn't fit enough, or he's not doing great going into the race or anything like that. We purposely skipped the big race at Kentucky Downs, the Calumet Turf Cup, which was $1 million. We skipped that. And we skipped the John Henry. We could have run in that race at Santa Anita, but we skipped that because we wanted to get him back to Keeneland. Mm-hmm. We knew we wanted to get him used to it. We didn't want him flying there the week of the race and, he gets sick from the plane. You heard Vacoma scratched. I don't know if you guys saw that. We wanted to try something a little different, and so he's been back there. He's got used to the environment, and I think hopefully that will pay off because people ask like, "Oh, well, you didn't race. What happened?" I'm like, "No, that was the plan." I mean, he went on a plane to Keeneland like 3 weeks after the Del Mar Handicap, so it wasn't. It wasn't that anything happened. I'm being honest. This is no joking around here. We did this on purpose.
Yeah, I've been looking at him, at his form and his past performances, and he had his first workout at Keeneland on October 4th. So he's been settled in for a month, and I do, especially with Keeneland, I do think familiarity with the track does breed a little bit of an advantage. I mean, it's true at any racetrack, but especially when the quality of horses coming into the Breeders' Cup in general, in this race specifically, it can be an edge that is not to be discounted.
We're going to need a lot of edges.
Revealing that you were doing so much handicapping might be a little bit of a curse here, because now the viewers want to know, they want picks from you. They want to know who you like.
No problem. I'll go picks. I did a whole podcast. Go to at Own a Horse on Twitter. We did an entire podcast. We had my man Bill Starkey on, who you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we had Ryan Flanders on our show, myself and Michelle Yu. It's the Horse Ownership Experience. Literally go listen to it. It's like an hour and 20 minutes, and we went through every race. It's pretty cool. We've never done that before, and we took our time. I think the Classic's a 2-horse race. I think it's Improbable and Tom's the Tom. I think they're the 2 fastest horses. I think Tom de Tomp may be overlooked with all the 3-year-olds. I think he's going to be a great price. I think that I'm just going to pull it out right here just real quick to make sure I'm not missing anything. I love what Al Stahl's done. I think he really knows the horse, and I think they took their time and they planned for this race. And if you look at his races, he runs well fresh. He drew great. He's going to get a great spot. He's got Rosario. There's plenty of speed to set him up in front of him. He doesn't have to be on the lead. I think Improbable is just way too sharp and way too good for any of these horses right now. I think it's those 2. And if you're looking for a horse for your try or maybe sneak in the exact, I would say by my standards.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think he's really, really consistent. I know it's been a long year, but I think they've pointed for this race as well. And I think it's a repeat. I think it was the Whitney, the race Tom de Tot stumbled.
That was it.
It was Improbable by my standards, Tom de Tot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look back at the race at Oaklawn, Tom de Tot defeated Improbable that day on the square. So I think you're going to have a race like that. And I think those 2 are I hope money comes in for Max. I hope money comes in for Tis the Law and Authentic, because I think if that happens, you're going to get some nice prices and a nice payoff. And especially when I know Dan, I think he likes to bet horizontals. So if you're betting, I think you just use those 2 in your pick 4s and your pick 5s.
I like it.
Yeah.
We've done most of our chatting here about the Breeders' Cup Turf. Wanted to do a look back, just a quick, fantastic finish look back to the last time the Breeders' Cup Turf was run at Keeneland.
Ready for the start. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Turf. And then it's found, and Big Blue Kitten, who was set up by a stablemate, is swinging up on the far outside. They're into the stretch. Golden Horn, the Arc de Triomphe winner in front. The filly found. Big Blue Kitten charging down the center of the course, and right behind them is Slumber. Golden Horn all out. Found right at outside. On the outside of them is Big Blue Kitten. Found has taken the lead. Golden Horn, Big Blue Kitten. The filly found, and Golden Horn found did it in the turf. Golden Horn second. Europe was 1-2. And then it was Big Blue Kitten, followed by Slumber.
Really loved the show of sportsmanship there at the end, I gotta say.
That was cool. Yeah, I really loved I had singled Golden Horn in all my tickets. So I was there. That was a good memory, though. Thanks, Danny.
I was going to say, it was a filly. She was a Euro, but it was an upset. It was an upset.
And she was 3.
Yeah.
Tanaroa. I'm telling you guys, do not leave Tanaroa off your tickets. Don't do it. It's a mistake.
Where I was going with that, I was saying it was an upset, so maybe we'll see an upset with Red King and this and that. Now you're going to put people on Tanaroa?
I keep going to Lashkari in the inaugural Breeders' Cup turf.
Yeah.
I think he was like 30-1. So that's my Red King comparison. I wouldn't compare him to a 3-year-old filly. Listen, I'm not saying Red King doesn't have a chance. He does. Everything breaks right. Danny, I loved him in the Del Mar Handicap.
Oh yeah,
I forced us to put him on the ticket when everyone wanted a single United. Ooh,
United. Oh no, that was spectacular. I mean, that's the only reason why that ticket paid so much. I mean,
I think it was. And so, he's just in with really, really good horses. He's doing it, like I said. If he gets beat, it's because someone's better. It's not going to be because he can't get the distance. It's not going to be because he's not fit enough or anything like that. This is a really good, evenly matched crew of grade and Group 1 winners. And I think we have to be realistic about our expectations going into this race. I would love to come on here and say, yeah, we're going to guarantee victory and Red King's going to run back right by him like he did before. And listen, I think the right move, I'm not going to say this to Rispoli, and I hope he's not watching, but I think the right move is to sit behind United and Channelmaker and make them go early. Make that one big run. But the problem is you're going to have Magical, Tanarwa, Mogul, Lord North all charging late at you. And it's a little different than the mile and 3/8 of the Del Mar Handicap. So it's going to be an interesting race. We're excited to go and just be a part of Breeders' Cup. And I think that's what the partners really, that's what's great for me personally. I love the fact that we're going to have a bunch of people there that are going to be wearing their purple Red King hats and their jackets, and they're just so excited to go. And that's what this game is all about. It's the experience. It's not necessarily just winning and losing. It's the experience.
I have a very vivid memory of the 2017 Breeders' Cup at Del Mar. I went up to the
veranda.
Yeah, the veranda that overlooks the paddock.
Oh yeah.
There was just like a plethora of LRF like team members having like the best time up there. Just like
it was a lot of fun.
Like having the enjoying the experience the way you should, and it was just really nice to see. I mean,
well, yeah, that's our brand is fun. There's no other way around it. I mean, we like to have fun. We like to go out. We're not just stuffy horse owners. I mean, I have regular people, just like all the three of us, that are in our partnership, and they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're plumbers, they're guys who rent out private jets. And there's dentists, and we have it's from every walk of life, because you can do fractional shares in Little Red Feather, so we get everybody. Mm-hmm. And we all like to go, and we all love not the horses, the races, the experience, the tracks. Hearing from you guys, I mean, it really is I'm very proud of the brand that we've built. I'm proud of what it stands for. And you brought up LRF Cares. I think it stands for the horse. I think it stands for experience and fun, because this game, as I said right when I came on to start, this game is really, really difficult. It's hard to make money. People know that ahead of time. And as long as they have that attitude, they're going to have a great experience with Little Red Feather. And that's why this Saturday means so much to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And Billy, I want to thank you for your generosity in referring to Dan as normal at the beginning of
I just like that I call him Danny. I feel like it. Do a lot of people call you Danny, or is it?
A couple of people over the years.
I feel like you haven't corrected me, so you kind of like it. I kind of feel like a big brother, little brother vibe with me and you. Like, that's what I feel like.
I mean, but you're the young one. I mean,
yeah. Well, I'm 20.
Yeah. So. By the way, since we have your name blocked, your handle blocked on the bottom there, tell people where they can find out more about Little Red Feather.
Oh, at LRF is my Twitter handle, and we also have a Twitter handle at LRF Racing Club. You can go to littleredfeather.com. You can email me, Billy at littleredfeather.com, if you're interested in finding out more about horse ownership. You don't have to buy anything. I work 24/7. I'll give you my cell number. We can talk. If you're going to be at the Breeders' Cup, come find me. I will have this weird Pepe Le Pew white beard thing going on. Thankfully, I've been told I don't have to wear a tie, which is really nice. I'm going to get, I'm thinking suit with like just a white shirt on Saturday for the big day, but a little more casual on Friday. No jeans, of course, at Keeneland. Woo! Can't wear jeans at Keeneland.
This show will be back on tomorrow at noon, same hour, same place across our social channels. And Friday, Saturday, we're live at 9 a.m. setting up your Breeders' Cup Future Stars Friday and your Breeders' Cup Saturday. I want to mention tomorrow our guests include Billy's favorite and best friend, Ren Carruthers, Candace Hare from TVG, and Bram Weinstein. By the way, I feel like Ren Carruthers, you have the thing that's like the Jimmy Kimmel, like Matt Damon thing.
Yes, no question.
That's the relationship.
Wait, are you guys going to be on live during the Breeders' Cup?
We're not. No, we're just going to be setting it up just to preview. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That would be cool, but there's NBC
I was going to say, let's do it. Let's watch the turf live. That'd be amazing.
That would be awesome. That would be.
One more question, and then you could go. I know we're light on time. Can we do a pick 5, pick 4 thing with the charity again, or can we put it? Get my man Ellis. I'm in.
Let's do it. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, look out for the email.
We do it for let's do it for the charities, and we'll put up some money, and I think we should do like Saturday pick 5 or Saturday pick 4.
I mean, do we want to be like, look, a pick 5 is pretty ambitious on Breeders' Cup Day, and just say, look, since it's for charity, let's just try to get a pick 4 home, and whatever it pays, that'll be decent enough.
I'm in. Just send me the email, and I'm in. I'll send you my picks. Who did it last time? Sean Alvarez did the ticket or something. He put it all together.
Yep. And we got we'll round up the whole gang again from that ticket, and we'll get Penelope's money into this time.
Love it. No, I'm sponsoring Penelope.
All right. Awesome. All right, guys. Billy, thank you for joining us. Everyone, we will see you again back here tomorrow.
Same.